I'm Kevin Davis. This is the Catholic Family Podcast, and I'm joined by Chicky, Michelle
Hello.
Landsgaard. She is my sister. We've done shows together, I think, but boy, it's been a long time. We did a show with you and Ben, I think, at one point. Um, Maybe you and mom and dad. I don't know. It's been a long time. And anyway, you're back on. And hopefully, we're not going to have too many kids running around in the background. We decided to do it live. We couldn't really decide, should we do it live? Should we record? And we're like, you know what? It's fun to have the people in the comment section. So everyone who's watching, we appreciate you live. Everyone who's not live, we appreciate your comments anyway. And we appreciate your thoughts on this topic because coming into it, I'm openly a critic of homeopathy. I'm not someone who has studied the matter. I don't know that much about it, to be honest. I'm going to get heat over that, like I tend to. But that's how I go into things, in the dark, kind of blind. And Chicky's going to try to explain it to me and convince me that it is an absolute holistic miracle cure for everything, which would be pretty cool. She says she can get my neck aches to go away, and if she does, then I'll be pretty amazed.
I can't make you better looking, so that's one.
Well, then what even is
miracles?
The point?
I mean, there are miracles and then there are miracles.
That hurts.
But besides that,
you can't shrink my nose.
Right.
I was telling you that someone commented the other day. It's like, Kevin, this guy's nose is huge. It's like, geez, my podcast is bigger than yours. Yeah, I know. Here's Chicky's website. Anyone who's watching live wants to go check it out. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dominic. Hi, Allie. All friends of Chicky is in the comment. Chicky, I will show the comments on this.
Oh, cool.
So you can see
okay,
it now.
I was gonna ask.
And good to see everybody. We already have 20 people in, so I guess people are interested in this topic. Everyone, let us know what you think on the topic as we get going. Again, Chicky is the expert on the matter. I just shared her website there. I will share it as well on the screen as we wait for some more people to check into the live show. Let's see. I joked with Chicky. I was like, boy, I'm so surprised no one else had that website.
Yeah, it's a pretty common name.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny going from Michelle Davis to Michelle Landsgaard.
True.
Like you'd Google Michelle Davis and there'd be like 5 million. And then you'd Google Michelle Landsgaard 1. I'm like, oh.
Don't
Nice
Google
website.
Google Kevin Davis. Don't do it. Everyone's going to learn. If you Google Kevin Davis, you're going to learn exactly why I changed my public name for a while to Kevin Gillikin because yeah. Anyway, it's bad. It's not me. It's some other guy named Kevin Davis, and it's pretty rough. So anyway, on that note, so I think we need to start this really from the basics, Chicky. I mean, I know about homeopathy. We'll talk a bit about how it's different here in Germany than it is in the U.S. We actually use it quite more frequently. What is it, and where did it come from? I suppose that's the best place to start. Whichever one you want to take first.
Yeah. So basically, it started in the early 1800s, and it was a man named Samuel Hahnemann. So he was actually a doctor, like a regular, normal doctor, and he was disgusted with the treatments of the time. So that was back when they were really big into like leeching and bloodletting and all of these really dramatic ways of curing people.
Did you know that's why George Washington died? I'm sorry to interrupt you. He died because he bloodlet like
yes
8 liters or something. I forget. Maybe that's exaggerating, but like an insane amount of blood. He bloodletted to death.
Yes,
Oh,
no,
George.
It's insane. Well, and ironically, it was like a tooth infection that went septic, and then their cure was to bloodlet, and then he died of the bloodletting. So it's crazy. But anyways, during that era, the healthcare system was just not very good. There was like 2 kind of basic types. So you basically had like the holistic and like the more like the Chinese medicine and herbal stuff. And then you had the other side, which was it's called rationalism and empiricism. So empiricism was like helping your body heal naturally using things that weren't opposed to the illness. And then rationalism was the really like extreme measures. You would have like bloodletting and leeching, and you would have like the opposite trying to cure. So it's kind of like today actually. So you have constipation and you give Miralax because you're giving the opposite thing to treat the condition when your body doesn't. That's not what is going to help in the long run. It's just going to mess things up and make you have chronic, the other side of it. So anyways, that was kind of what was going on during the 1800s.
Sorry, just real quick. Didn't they also believe in like bile and the different humors, or was that more the medieval times, where it's like the humors that you had the 4 humors of the body, and that's why they had to do the bloodletting sometimes? Because like, even if you were depressed, they would say to let blood because it would reduce the black humors in your body. so let's just remember that when we criticize modern medicine, it was not much better back in the day. So some things they get right, some things they don't. Anyway, sorry.
No, totally. Well, and plus, I mean, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but during that time, I mean, you can imagine how much worse the whole hygiene issue was. So that was also an aspect, but people were dying really young, and there was disease. Disease was rampant. It was during the time where they had like extremely bad malaria. So malaria was like the epidemic during that time. It was like the early 1800s, and people were just, dropping like flies. So Hahnemann actually went out to try and find a cure for malaria. So he actually, this is how he started finding the homeopathic. So it was called cinchona, but it's actually a bark of like a Peruvian tree. And he took it in like a really high dosage, and he found that he got the symptoms of malaria. So he was like really tired and fatigued. He had a fever. So all of the symptoms of malaria were present after he took that really high dosage of the Peruvian bark, which is homeopathically, it's called cinchona. So he found that because of that, so he got all of those symptoms that were malaria-like, and he started treating people with the same thing when they had malaria, and he found that they would get over the malaria because it was that's the basic idea behind homeopathy. It's like cures like. So it's homeo and pathos, which homeo means similar and pathos means pathology. So it's similar pathology. So yeah, like the main idea behind homeopathy goes by the law of similars. And that states that any substance that can cause symptoms when given to a healthy person can also heal the same symptoms in a person that is unwell. So it's, if that makes sense, like with the malaria and then the China, it's curing because it's the law of similars. So like cure.
And so to use that logic and an example you used earlier, if you have constipation, sorry everyone who's watching to use this example, but if you're doing that, then you would want to, in that same theory, you want to eat bananas, right? Because that, or what is it that causes more constipation? That's kind of the theory, at least. Rather than eating prunes, you eat bananas. Or is that too simple?
So not exactly, because this is the part that kind of makes homeopathy different than like taking the whole substance. So homeopathy goes into like these steps. So you start with the original substance, and then you dilute it and succuss it, and it goes into.
And no succussing on the show, please. It's Catholic.
Right. Sorry. But so anyways, you get it to the point where it actually works on a more like cellular level. So it wouldn't be like you're taking the actual mother tincture, which would maybe cause, like, for example, it would cause the constipation. You're diluting it and succussing it and forming a new medicine that will act differently than the mother tincture.
And I guess that's where my criticism comes in. More mine than say like Ina's. Ina's, like I told you, is much more about the esoteric side, which we can get into. But for me, I just don't quite understand how something diluted can become stronger, right? Isn't that one of the principles, I suppose, is that, if the more diluted it is, the stronger it becomes. Is that
Mhm.
right? Is that the case with
Yes.
what you would say? So I just don't like that. Doesn't seem, I don't want to say, is it logical? It doesn't seem observable to me. Now, I just how I view the world. I don't understand how something becoming smaller can become more powerful. Like, I don't. Is there any
Right.
other example of that in the world? I mean, not that I know of, but again, I don't. I'm not. I'm almost a genius, but not quite.
Right. Getting there. No, it's a good point. I mean, a lot of people get really confused by that. And like I originally was really confused by that because it kind of, yeah, it defies logic almost. But there is a really good kind of like an explanation. So if you research nanoparticles or nanotechnology, so it's actually used in other realms besides homeopathy. But basically, you get something and you dilute it to a really low level. And that is actually more powerful because it works on a deeper, like cellular level. But then also, if you take water, for instance, so you take water and you dilute it and successive put a remedy in it, the water actually has memory, which is kind of like a weird thing to say, but you you can have one water that's just clear water, and then you put a remedy into it. And even when it's diluted and succussed to such a point where the original substance is not in it anymore, it actually will leave a different like molecular composition in the water because it's like using it's basically the nanoparticles. So even though you won't find the exact substance, you will find like a blueprint of the substance, if that makes sense.
But
So
but it, but then why would the blueprint of the substance be stronger than the actual substance? So I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but I still don't understand, like, how does it? I just don't like, how does that work? How does, I mean, I guess I see what you mean, like it's affecting at a molecular level, okay? But if that's the case, shouldn't that just mean the molecule is still there when you have the entire, if you're eating the bark, I mean, of that tree, you still have the molecular level. You just also have the stronger level. So I mean, like, I would be much more inclined to be a naturopath, to be someone who's like, okay, yeah, God gave us, this bark to go and chew to treat malaria. Like, okay, I buy that. And I think that, chewing on garlic, you remember growing up, with mom, she'd give us these toes of garlic, but the house smelled like, no, there were no vampires in the Davis house during cold season. That's for sure. But
keeps away mosquitoes, all that
yeah, it
good
keeps
stuff.
away mosquitoes.
Or
Exactly. Yeah.
anyone else
It
also.
smelled, yeah, yeah, it was rough, but I think I understand that, because I mean, I think that's, God gave us that, so that just makes sense to me logically. I still can't buy that idea that the smaller it gets, the more it works. Yeah, I can see if you say it can still work when it's down to the molecular level. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a biologist, but saying that it's more, I mean,
So yeah, one thing is that like it so you can totally treat things. I am not against herbalism at in any means. Like I think sometimes there are cases where like I would possibly even prefer herbs over homeopathics. So because it covers a lot of things, and like even Chinese medicine, I don't know as much about that. Obviously, I'm not against those things because, like you said, we're using God's creations and putting them to good use to, cure things. But I would say that there are a lot of things that you cannot cure or treat even with herbs and Chinese. Well, maybe not. I don't know as much about Chinese medicine, but let's just say herbs. There are things like garlic will not cure. I'm trying to think like chronic illnesses as much. I mean, in some cases it can, but I have like personally found that a lot of issues that I would not be able to handle with like herbs and stuff, I can with homeopathics. So yeah, like chronic food intolerance, different things like depression, anxiety, IBS, Crohn's disease. Like, I mean, I think garlic and like your herbs and your foods are really great. I think it's like a tool in the toolbox. But I think because homeopathy works on such a deeper cellular level, it is able to uproot certain conditions that you wouldn't be able to uproot with herbs.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that, and it is actually kind of a funny thing. I think you and I have both grown up with people who were uh, herbalists. I don't know what you want to call them. People who ate very healthy, and they were always sick. It was just, it was always kind of this ironic thing that was just like, oh, Kevin, you want to try our magic throat spray?
Right.
Weren't you sick last week? I mean, yeah, right. I mean, no, I don't think I'm going to try anything that you have, to be honest.
Right.
But you know, it is interesting. I think, you know, God's world is miraculous. I mean, it's incredible, you know, that how things work. So I think, as you said, it's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't put it past any of this stuff either. And I do think, and I'm sure you would agree with me here, that is a Western modern mentality to just think like, well, it's not what my doctors say, so it's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ridiculous. I mean, I think and I think that is true. I've met people like that in America, especially, who are like, no, this is not what I learned in school, so it cannot be. It's like, no, you know, cool it. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that Chinese medicine is right, but you have billions of people who trust it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it's right. I'm not saying I'm not saying that means it's right, but you can't just say it's dumb. You can't just be like, just because, well, America doesn't do it. So, well, yeah. Okay.
Well, and we could go on
healthier than everybody else.
I know, exactly. You could go on a completely different tangent about Western medicine, you know?
Yeah.
But I will say, before I forget this, it's interesting. Can you guess the top 2 most used forms of medicine in the world? Like not US, world. Can you guess?
Voodoo. No, I'm kidding. Probably Chinese medicine. I mean, they have the most people, so whatever that is, I don't know what you call that, but Chinese medicine, and I could see it being homeopathy, because I think that's used widely in India, in Europe. Again, like I guess I didn't really talk about it, but here, did we talk about it on the show or before the show? That yeah, I mean, I went to the show. I've had neck aches since I played football. My neck always hurts pretty much constantly, and I've tried to find cures for 2 decades almost now. And eventually I came to Germany, and the first doctor I went to, I was like, hey, you know, I have neck pain all the time. It always hurts. What are you going to do about it? Here's some homeopathics. Go home and ice your neck and take the homeopathics. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? You know, but yeah, I mean, so it is, don't poo-poo it, guys. I mean, yeah, I mean, seriously though. I mean, so that's the basis point. I think don't, because again, I've met these people who's like, well, it's not modern medicine, so it's stupid. Let's chill on that. Now, I still am critical of it, as I've said, but I mean, anyway, sorry, you had a comment to make.
No, I was just gonna say that, yeah, it speaks volumes that it's the second most used medicine in the world, homeopathy, because yeah, Chinese medicine is the top and homeopathy is the second. And it's like, I mean, it's been around for, you know, close to 300 years. And I think, like, obviously the Western medicine world hates it because you can't patent it and it's inexpensive and it actually cures. Like, that's not what modern medicine is always out to do. Because as most of us here probably would agree, in Western medicine, it's all about the money. You know, it's all about, they want you sick because they want you to come back and take the drugs and take the suppressants and take all of the things that won't actually cure you. When with homeopathy, you can uproot a condition. So let's take depression, for instance, with, you know, depression, ADHD, stuff like that. You will be on a medication for the rest of your life with those things. I mean, most of the time, like, it's not gonna get better with the medication. You're going to suppress
like
the
Ritalin,
symptoms.
like
Ritalin
crazy
for little kids,
crazy medication, not just medication, like insane medication. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it breaks my heart, you know. And like they don't want you to get better. They want you to stay sick because off of you being sick. So I mean, there's always been a hatred from the Western medicine world from like to homeopathy. I mean, that goes way back to the very beginning. the AMA, the American Medical Association, was always trying to get rid of homeopathy because it was their biggest competition. For a while, there were more homeopathic hospitals and schools than anything else in America. And they just couldn't handle the competition. So they tried to find ways to get rid of it. And then, they actually were unfortunately pretty successful, because by the 40s, there was like hardly any schools or hospitals left. But yeah, it was just all about the money.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think it does mirror what happened, say, with the oil industry, right? Or with the
Mm-hmm.
locomotive industry. I mean, of course they literally murdered people. I mean, that's just true. They went around and, yeah, you're my competition, then you dead. The
Yeah.
guy who supposedly created a car that ran off of water. I think it was water or solar, maybe, I forget, one of the two. And yeah, just was just about to patent it and just died in a
Yeah. Right.
random, I think, car crash or something. You think, wow, that's convenient.
Yeah.
And so as we get going here, everyone, thank you for joining us. Here's Chicky's website. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to write that down, to type that into your web browser, because it's going to take that long. Michelle Landsgaard, homeopathy.com. If anyone buys this stuff, I don't know. I mean, if you do, if you're into homeopathics, then go check out Chicky's website. And before we get into how you make this stuff, do you make it, or do you teach it? What do you do with homeopathy?
Yeah, I don't make it. I leave that to the pharmacies. It's a pretty crazy scientific thing to make a homeopathic, so I stay away. I mean, I theoretically could in a survival situation, but hopefully we never get to that point. So yeah, I teach classes mostly. So I do what's called the Gateway to Homeopathy courses, which I'm leading Gateway 2 coming up in February, which you have to take Gateway 1. So I don't know if this is going to be helpful for people. But I will be leading Gateway 1 again, probably in like July. So if you want to, and you can go to my website and find all of that information. But I also sometimes take clients. So I have helped people with different chronic conditions, and they come to me about every 8 weeks, and we have like a Zoom meeting, and I like suggest different remedies for them to take for different conditions. And then we meet again in 8 weeks and reassess and evaluate and see if they need to keep going on their remedies or try something else. So it's pretty, I mean, I love it. I'm passionate about it. It keeps me like, as a mom, like I love my kids to death, but it keeps me like doing something that's not pure related. So it's like my intellectual, it's honestly been life-saving and life-changing for me. Like, not gonna
I
lie.
just kind of picture you're like a pill popper. You're popping these little globules. Like you're hiding behind the kitchen door. Guy can't get enough of your globules. A couple of good comments here. Can I still share them on the screen? I think so. This is pretty interesting from Dominique Welp, good friend of ours. After C-section, I was prescribed oxytocin, which is when I got my wisdom teeth removed here in Germany. I really was expecting something like, give me some morphine, baby, because that's what they would give you in America. And it was pretty rough. Everyone has their stories, but it was not a nice wisdom tooth removal. And I came out and they prescribed me like Tylenol. I'm still to this day.
Wait, did they also prescribe you homeopathics? I'm just curious.
No, I don't think so. I think they
okay, I was just curious.
No, I think it was just Tylenol. Honestly, I think I probably could have gotten homeopathics, but I think they just gave me Tylenol. I was like, that's all.
Right.
But anyway, that's pretty interesting, because I mean, the C-section that's a very serious. I mean, that's a surgery. So I mean, to be able to say that, so oxytocin is, I mean, that's an opioid, right? I think, as far as I know, and to have the homeopathy work better than the oxytocin, that's pretty fascinating. That's wow. Yeah. And the next comment, this is pretty cool, from a very good friend of the show, long time viewer, every time liker of the show, Kate McPherson, having her baby today. Congrats, Kate. We wish you a very happy and healthy birth, and go pop some globules.
Right. No, I have so many success stories with birth and stuff. with homeopathics, which we don't have to get into because, men might be watching, but it is amazing for delivery and pregnancy and all things baby. It's amazing. Like, yeah, so good.
So let's get into the how it is made, because this is, again, a lot of people have the issue with the esoteric side of it. I know this became a bit of a thing when Intro Ebo, who was a friend of the show for a while. We haven't been on for a while, but he was on the show for a long time. Produced an article back a couple years ago now, I think. And really his biggest issue with homeopathy, if I remember right, was the esoteric side of it, and the founder Hahnemann, who, if I remember right, sorry guys, I've not done my research today. I did this a couple years ago, and I've forgotten most of it. But he was a part of the Theosophy Society, which is pretty renowned esoteric group. So I don't know if you have refutation on that, or what do you have to say about it? Is it esoteric? Is there something that we should be worried about on the spiritual side of homeopathy?
No. So I will say that is very true. He was a Freemason. He was in some stuff that wasn't obviously not Catholic. But I will say that did not have any influence on the making of the remedies or on the forming of homeopathics, because he used all of the things he used was very reproducible and very scientific. So it's interesting because he did double-blind studies, the first double-blind studies, actually, because he kind of created double-blind studies, which is really cool. But yeah, he was able to reproduce it to the point where other people could do it and they could follow the system that he set up and recreate what he had done. So yeah, even though like his personal life wasn't necessarily ideal, he did have some weird ideas about, Freemasonry and such, but he never let it like influence his actual like making of the homeopathics. And it has nothing like occultism or any of that thing. It was never part of homeopathy. So there's a lot of new age like vibage that you can get from homeopathy. That was not Hahnemann. That didn't come until like 50 to like probably about 50 years later. I could get this wrong, but I think it was another homeopath named Kent. And he started the kind of weird new age, like, trying to think of some of the words that, throw people off, like energy, which, isn't like the best way to describe it, even though it kind of works in that way. But so those type of words did not get used with Hahnemann. That was later with Kent when he kind of branched off and he started some weird stuff. He did some kind of creepy, like energetic type, what's the word? Spiritualistic type things. But the original homeopathics were not like that. Hahnemann was not like that. It didn't come until like 50 years later with Kent, if that makes sense.
And I remember during this time, I don't remember if it was you who was arguing it with Introibo, may have been someone else who had some proof that there, I believe, and I don't know if you have this. Again, I'm kind of throwing this at the wall. That there was a pope who used homeopathy, or maybe it was bishop. I don't know. I don't want to speak falsely here, but I do remember it being a conversation and it being like, no, it is not something that's ever been remotely condemned or questioned by the church, at least as far as I understand. And that's kind of what I told Ina. It's like, for me, that's kind of on the esoteric side. It's kind of like, yeah, I mean, if it was something like that, like chakras or something, or, like voodoo or it's some of these things that are yoga, things that are really bad. Like actually have really deeply bad roots. And maybe someone has that, but I don't think I've seen that. I think I remember it with Introibo. His argument for it was more about Hahnemann or maybe Kent, whoever it was, and kind of them personally, and in some of the weird stuff that comes out of it. Because I mean, that's what I've heard. I mean, maybe you can shoot this down, but I mean, I've heard I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, but like it's like you have to shake it in a certain way, or like to make it, you have to shake it, and then it's better in moonlight or something like that. I don't know. I've heard some pretty weird stuff with homeopathy, but I don't. Maybe it's not true.
Yeah, no, I think, well, first of all, I have heard that popes had, well, one pope in particular, which I'm drawing a blank on which one it was, so I don't want to say the wrong one, but one pope did have a personal homeopath, and that's not totally proven. I don't want to say that as like 100% fact. I did some research and I did find that was he had a homeopath that he used.
Okay, real quick, I want to interrupt you here because I just looked this up, and it says, this is, guys, this is just the internet, so I don't know if it's true, but it says Pope Pius IX, frequently described as a strong advocate and personal user of homeopathy. He was reportedly a patient of Italian homeopath Cesare Mattei and awarded papal honors to several homeopathic practitioners for their work, including during cholera epidemics, etc. So, if you believe the internet, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I did some like research on that back with Intro Evo, and I feel like that was like pretty genuine, not like 100%, but I think that was for like a thing. But yeah, also just like on the whole, like how it's made and stuff. So these pharmacies that do it, like they're FDA approved. So they go through so many different regulations. So there's like it's like the HMPCA, which is like the homeopathic regulations. And then they also go through FDA regulations. Up until recently, no remedies were taken off the market by the FDA, which is like, if you go by standards of that, then that's something. But then also it's very, very regulated and it's very scientific. So yeah, maybe you have your weirdos who are doing stuff under the moonlight, but that's not as a whole. Like if you buy the popular brands, so one of the popular brands is Boron. It's Boiron, and it's like the blue tubes, and they're really popular. You can buy them on Amazon and stuff. I highly doubt that they're doing stuff under moonlight, waving wands around, because they produce an insane amount of homeopathic remedies worldwide. So yeah, it's very scientific and reproducible, and yeah, very regulated also.
And is it regulated then by the FDA? I mean, is it regulated medicinally then?
So yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's regulated by the FDA. So, which they're trying to take certain remedies off because of the whole certain remedies you start with a poisonous substance and you create a medicine from it. They're trying to pull those off because they say, that it's going to hurt you. But that's another part I didn't really talk about. So basically to make a remedy, you take a mother tincture. So I'm going to use the example of arsenic because everyone knows arsenic. Arsenic will kill you. It is a poison. If you ingest too much of it, it'll kill you. So anyways, you would take the mother tincture arsenic and you would put it into water. So you would drop like 1 drop of water, and then you would put it into like an alcohol, like a grain alcohol, and you would dilute 1 drop into the like 10 drops of water, and then succuss it, and then of that new solution and put it into another vial, and then succuss it, and then you would do that all the way up to the number that you're trying to get to. So a lot of remedies you use as 30C. So that would be 30 times to the 100th power of dilution and succussion, if that makes sense. So you would take arsenic in the original form and you would turn it into a homeopathic, and you would get the same symptoms. So if you ingested arsenic, you would be throwing up, and you would, be like anxious and restless and, all of these things. So when you're throwing up and anxious and restless, you take arsenic in the homeopathic form, which has been turned into arsenicum, which is just the Latin name for arsenic. And that will help you with your throwing up and anxious and stuff.
So poison helps you be less anxious. I like that. That's
yeah, right.
It's interesting. Here's an interesting comment from Julia Rose. It's kind of sounds like vaccinations. I'd say more like maybe inoculations, though I don't honestly always know what the difference is. But I mean, I think that's kind of true, right? I mean, at least when I think about the inoculation of the army under George Washington with smallpox, they went and got inoculated with a little bit of the sickness in order to get a lighter version of that illness. And like that form of vaccination to me makes at least some sense. I think that's actually a form of like, okay, yeah, I get the logic behind that. I think my issue with modern vaccinations, it's like, so we're going to put an inoculation inside of aluminum and mercury and pump it into your body and see what happens. I mean, that's more of my, again, I'm no doctor, but I mean, I think that the inoculation idea of vaccinations, I get the logic behind it. At least.
It is similar. So there's another sort of derivative of homeopathy, which is called isopathy. And that's actually taking the exact, so it wouldn't be like cures like, it would be like exact curing exact. So for instance, if you had whooping cough or whatever, you would take...
Not constipation. Sorry, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, that'd be gross.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
But yeah, so you would take spit or whatever from someone who's sick with whooping cough. You'd make a remedy out of it, and that would cure whooping cough. So that it's similar to homeopathy, not exactly the same. Or another good example of that.
Wait, sorry, real quick. It would cure it, or it would give it to you with a lesser version of it, like an inoculation. So like if you have it, that spit would cure your whooping cough. Is that the theory?
Or help at least. Yeah. I mean, I'm not as familiar with isopathy. It's like similar, but it's in theory, it would just help your body to so pretty much you're trying to like stimulate your body's natural ability to heal. So you're pretty much like waking your body up. It's like okay, this is what we need to do. You're putting that in so that your body wakes up and stimulates itself to heal naturally.
With homeopathy.
With homeopathy, yeah. And it's I think similar with isopathy. Like I said, I don't know as much about it, but another example of that would be poison ivy. So if you get poison ivy, there's actually a remedy called roost tox that's made from poison ivy. You actually don't take that as your first option with homeopathics. You would actually take a different remedy. So it's just interesting. You wouldn't actually do it precisely like that, like taking, diluted and succussed poison ivy to cure poison ivy. It's not quite the same, but.
Got it. Interesting. Well, I don't know if you can cure stupidity. I saw someone from Selah cast here, so I could ask, do you cure stupidity?
Right.
Probably not, huh?
Well, I'm still working on that one with
got to get a good mix. Poison, probably arsenic. Arsenic at a very high dosage.
Yeah, just take arsenic in a mother tincture, and then you'll cure stupidity.
Your stupidity will be cured real quick. Michelle Landsgaard, homeopathy.com. Anyone who is interested in you give courses, and sometimes you give consultations. She claims she can cure my neck problems. And I said, if she can cure my neck problems, I will promote her website on every podcast for the next, 3 months. How about that?
Yeah, challenge accepted.
That would be pretty amazing because I've had neck problems forever. Interesting. Well, and I guess, again, I don't really understand the logic of the science. I don't know if I ever will, honestly. I don't know if you ever can all of these things. I mean, if you asked a doctor who's trained, he studied for years and he's trained for decades, and you ask him, what is an oxytocin, he's probably gonna be like, well, here's the active ingredient. Okay, what is that?
What does it do?
Well, it's morphine, and they'll be able to tell you some, but I think there's a lot of things that are not, they're not knowable, and I think that that's something that I think for me is a lesson for everyone is just don't be arrogant about it. Like every generation has thought they had all the doctors like, we know best. We know better than our fathers and grandfathers, those idiots. And it's like, no, yeah, maybe you learn
Mhm.
some things, like learning, to take showers, and wash your hands. We did learn some amazing things in the last few hundred years, which is kind of baffling that people lost that since the Roman times, which is actually a really interesting idea. Probably a whole nother topic, but how the Romans were just as high as we are in many things with I think with
Yeah,
medicine, with
hygiene.
culture,
Mhm.
hygiene, and then you just kind of you lost it all for thousands, or 1,000 years, which is pretty fascinating. But it is interesting to see, again, what can work and whatnot. I mean, you see different people will claim many different things. Some people will say they do cupping, and they'll say cupping works perfect for me. And you ask 9 other people, and they say cupping is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And so it really is kind of a difficult thing. And I can tell you, I've tried pretty much everything for my neck, and I think the thing that works the best for me is actually my diet, which is
Mhm.
very weird, but I think that's what seems to be the best. But I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know how you feel about all that.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Well, I think one of the big things is just not following blindly, like not taking what you hear like as gospel truth, like from, doctors. And because yeah, I mean, as the mother or the father, especially if you have children, like in the end, like you're going to know what's best for your child. Like the doctor, I mean, you don't want to be stupid about it. Like clearly you want to go to the doctor. Like I'm not saying like doctors are always evil. Like emergency rooms are great. Doctors can be good for like diagnosis type things, but a lot of times they're just going to tell you stuff that is going to harm your child in the long run. And so being well researched is really important, like knowing the top drugs that they want to push on you and knowing how to refute and when to refute. Because I mean, I've used antibiotics for my kids, but it was only for very, very like dangerous type things. And it's only been like once. But anyways, so you need to know, like as the mom, like you need to be able to discern like what's emergency, what do I need to do, like the conventional route. But most stuff you don't have to go that route, and you're not going to be fighting the side effects for years to come, so because homeopathy actually uproots, it doesn't have side effects, and it's not suppressive. So a lot of times when you take drugs, it's just going to suppress the issue, and a lot of times the issue will either get worse down the road or you'll have new issues. And I mean, we all kind of know that. Like if you take, drugs for whatever, diabetes, and then it's going to cause you to have itchy skin, and then you're going to take a steroid for your itchy skin, and then you're going to get asthma, and then you're going to take something for asthma, and that's going to cause anxiety. And it's always going to be like suppressing. And even though like your diabetes might seem like it's better, it's really not. You're just trying to hide the issue further and further.
Well, it's interesting because if you talk to some German doctors, and a lot of them, I shouldn't say a lot of them, some of them base their medicine on Father Kneipp, who he's a really interesting character. I don't know if you know about him. Very naturopathic. Probably would have been a fan of homeopathy. Wouldn't surprise me. Back in the late 1800s, I believe. And he believed in, yeah, and really one of his biggest treatments was going out and walking in extremely cold, like freezing water, and getting your circulation going and stuff. And he has a lot of very interesting cures, and I just find that really fascinating, and I think that really uplifts me. That idea,
Mhm.
when you hear the story of St. Patrick standing in the freezing cold water, and praying, and then part of that
Mhm.
is a punishment, part of it is manliness, and part of it is a cure.
A cure.
It's a
Yeah.
cure for depression and darkness and inflammation and
Mhm.
circulation issues, and it's just an incredible thing that how God made it. And I think that's, for me again, and I probably should have said at the beginning, yeah, everyone consult your doctors. We're not medical professionals, all that jazz. Because as Chicky said, exactly they're I thank God they're here because I'd be dead.
Mhm.
I had an appendix burst, and yeah, homeopathy ain't going to save that. So,
Mhm.
Michelle, which one do I
It
take?
could help, but yeah, you need to get,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no, no,
right.
I'd be dead. Yeah, so yeah, I
Right.
mean, absolutely. I mean, you need your doctors, you need your emergency rooms, but I agree with you too that I think it's the virtue is the middle course, right? And I think that's really true. Sometimes you need to take a clove of garlic. Sometimes you need to have your arm reset, by a professional doctor. And maybe sometimes homeopathy, I'm still not really sold on it. But I mean, again, it's not stupid. I'm really sure about that. It's not stupid. It's not something that you can just go like, oh, these idiot tree huggers. And I think you're
Mhm.
really right that the people with the money, the media, the education, your schools, they really have preached that. It's like, oh, if you
Mhm.
homeopathy is for tree huggers, right? It's for kind of your
Yeah,
hippy dippies. It's
very
like
new
that's
agey.
that's
Yeah.
that's silly. And you go to the doctor in Germany, they'll prescribe it. They'll say, hey, go take a walk and take a homeopathic.
Yeah, which
It's
is
in
so much
Germany. Yeah.
it's so much better, you know?
Yeah.
It's just America has a lot of things right, but they have a lot of things wrong, you know? The healthcare system is absolutely wrong. I mean,
It's bad. Yeah.
especially I would say 100% with like chronic issues. Acute, like, yeah, emergency room stuff, totally. But like the treatment of chronic issues is so bad. Like you're going to be on those pills for the rest of your life, and then you're going to be adding more stuff onto the problems. Like I forget who it was, but someone said whoever takes drugs has to cure themselves twice, once from the condition and once from the drug. And it's so true. And with homeopathy, that's another cool thing, is that you don't have to be on it the rest of your life. Like the goal is to get to the point where your body finds homeostasis, which is the proper balance, and then you stop taking them, because you only take them when you need them. It's not like supplements. It's not like you're getting to the point, the condition, taking it, which is so beautiful to me. It's just so liberating to know, like, I won't be taking this the rest of my life. Because I talk to people who are like, yeah, I have this condition, I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life. You can't get rid of this. It's just going to be, ongoing for the rest of my life. And I'm like, that is so sad. But there's like hope outside of that. Like with homeopathy, there's so much hope. Like almost everything can be like helped with homeopathy, and to the point where you shouldn't even have to be taking it. So it's such a hopeful thing, and it's so sad when you hear people talk like that. Like, I'll just have this disease the rest of my life. It's like, yeah, but that's the Western medicine way of thinking.
Yeah, yeah, and I'd say even American way, America, and
Mhm.
I think again, I'd speak especially to my American friends. I think most everyone watching this is American. I can tell you, we get so, as Americans, we are brought up that way to think like we are what exists. Like there is another world outside of America, but I've heard about it. I don't know. We do everything best. The way we do democracy is the best. The way we do medicine is the best. The way we do education is the best. And I tell you, you come to Germany, it's like, yeah, Germany's got a lot of problems, guys. A lot. Again, like America. But man, the healthcare system is way better. Way,
Yeah.
way, way better. And the quality of life is at the moment way better because they actually, I don't know, treat the family better. They give you
Hmm.
30 days of vacation in the year. They
Hmm.
give you, homeopathics rather than drugs. They say, hey, go outside and get some fresh air. They say change your
Right.
diet. And that's a problem in America. And I think that, again, it's not calling all doctors evil and stuff. It's just how it is, kind of. It's a
So
very broken system.
fail.
But I think what's optimistic about that too is that the system has been broken before, and I think it can get fixed. I think eventually people just need to start saying, "Hey, I'm just unless I break my arm or have a
Mhm.
appendicitis, I'm just not going to go to the doctor. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try to
Right.
cure it through eating garlic or kniping, walking through freezing cold water or homeopathy." And I think that's interesting. And I think that, as you say, I have never heard anyone say anything negative about having taken homeopathics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they might say, hey, this is dumb. It's sugar pills. They might
Hmm.
say it's hippy dippy. They might say it's esoteric. But you're right. No one's ever said like I overdosed, bro. I
Yeah.
totally
No.
overdosed on
Right. Like, or
homeopathy. And
this gave
that's
me
a
all these
plus.
side effects,
Yeah.
or this,
Yeah,
it
that's a
just
plus.
doesn't happen. Um, well, and I actually am a total believer in like anecdotes. I mean, if you ask someone what what helped you with your headache, and they say, a wand, like the wands, the red light therapy types, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like look into that. And but like, yeah, for me, and like when people doubt homeopathy, I'm like, try it. Like, it's not going to do you any harm. Like, it will, unless, okay, there is one thing, you can cause a proving if it's the wrong remedy, but it's not a scary, creepy thing. It's just like you literally cause the symptom, like with the arsenic example. If you took arsenicum and you were healthy, you could cause the symptoms of like throwing up and being anxious. But all you would have to do is stop taking it. And then there's another remedy you can take to like antidote that. And then you move on with your life. And it's never permanent. It just lasts, you know, maybe a day or less. And that's actually how they come up with like the materia medica, is having people prove the remedies. And that's how they find all the information out about the remedies.
That's actually interesting to me. Like, if that actually works, that actually makes me believe it a bit more. So it's not just a, you know, a mind over matter type thing or a placebo effect or something like that. And that's interesting. I mean, I almost makes me believe it more. If you take arsenic, then it'll help you make you get sick if you don't actually have the symptoms, which is
exactly
again pretty wild. But that whole idea is pretty, like, yeah, you get depressed, take this, but if you're not depressed, then you're gonna throw up.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's really interesting.
Man.
But weird. People do it experimentally, like I've never done it, but I've kind of wanted to be honest. Just like
someday you're bored.
A remedy when you don't need it, and like, oh, let's see what happens.
This one and this one, yeah, an upper and a downer at the same time,
right? So yeah, but no, I have a ton of success stories with it, and I know so many people. Like, it's been amazing because with these study groups, like, we've had this really cool community come up, and we're on like a group chat, and we just text each other, and like, you know, it's like, hey, my kid has hand, foot, mouth, what should I give them? And it's just like amazing to see like other people's experiences, and when they've had issues that have, you know, been helped or cured with homeopathy, and then you can just kind of like go back and forth with it, and it's really cool. I mean, there's so many stories. That to me is like the ultimate. Okay, take it and see if it doesn't work. Okay, you know, but just see if it works, you know, and it's you can't really go wrong with it. So,
well, if anyone's interested, again, you already had to have taken course A in order to take course B, so that's good timing for that one. But you can check out our website, Michelle Landsgaard. That's Landsgaard with 2 A's. You can see it there on the screen. If you're listening to this, you got to look at the screen, guys. I'm not going to spell that out for you because my mouth would get too dry to read to spell that whole thing out. I don't want to torture everyone here. If anyone has any questions for Chicky, let us know. We're going to wrap this up here in the next few minutes. Yeah, there's been some. Yeah, it is interesting. Again, that I have not experienced any healing remedies. I don't have any anecdotes, so you know, for me, it's not like, yeah, I did. But I know our family does. You know, I mean, and there's a lot of these different things. You know, we have family members who have had good success with Eastern medicine, right? And I mean, and also with chiropractic. And I've not had success with anything, and it's just one of those things that I don't know. I have a weird, you know, condition with my neck, you know, and maybe, and I haven't really tried homeopathy. That's true. I admit that. So you know, you send me some pills, I'll pop them. But no, I mean, you know, it is. I've certainly heard people who really believe in it. Obviously, you being one of them. And I do find it fascinating. I think I don't understand it, but it's interesting. And Pope Pius IX says it's okay. So
exactly. No, that's a big one. And there's been so many people who have, I think the king and queen, the royal family, have used homeopathy since the beginning. And ironically, this one's ironic. So Rockefeller, who was the very beginning of all of the total crap system of medicine, actually had a personal homeopath. So it was ironic because he was literally trying to squash homeopathy, but it was just a total hypocrisy thing because he had his own homeopath. So it's like, double standard.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah, but no, it's cool though, because I know like religious who use it also, you know, like sisters and priests. And so, I mean, to me also, it's like they wouldn't use it if it were occultish or whatever. So, you know, that's kind of another thing that I think, like, I obviously trust the sisters and priests, and like they've used it. So like I'm pretty cool with that.
Yeah, and it does seem like, again, I mean, again, I don't know if this Googled, response about Pius IX. I don't know if it's true. I haven't sourced it, but it does seem like you would have heard somewhere, the Catholic Church saying this is esoteric, this is a cult,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's happened. And I if it happens, then obviously we will all, stop doing homeopathy. But
Right.
and obviously if we have an official, people mandate or something,
Right.
when the
Right.
Pope actually comes back. But no, I think, again, I think, I'm not convinced because I have not had my own anecdote. But I think it's interesting. It's something that should not be poo-pooed. I still probably need to do more research into it just to kind of try to wrap my brain around the diluting and stuff, which I don't really understand. But I do appreciate, again, the fact that many people use it. There are many stories of it working, and it doesn't really have that much downside. And I do think
Mhm.
I think that's true. Like I mean, like, you just don't hear bad stories really of homeopathy. I mean, so to me, that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think that is worth saying. Hey, let's give it a shot. So, Chicky, it looks like we don't have any questions for you. I guess
Oh,
people don't want you
sorry.
to. So I was going to ask if you wanted any comments or any wrap it up with that last word.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say there was a question down pretty far asking like when I got certified.
Certified.
So
Yeah.
I am actually certified. So it was through the Academy of Practical Homeopathy, and it's through Joette Calabrese, but she does like a year and a half long. It's like kind of the equivalent of like a bachelor's, but I did that in 2024. So I have been graduated from that for like about 2 years, a little less than 2 years. And then I've taken a lot of other like smaller courses and stuff. But yeah, it's been about 10 years now, which is kind of crazy because I started way back when my oldest daughter was like close to a year old, and she was getting really bad ear infections. And yeah, we were going the whole conventional route, doing all the antibiotics. And then, yeah, I gave her homeopathics and she was fine. She never had an ear infection again. And that's kind of what started everything. And then yeah, eventually I took the big courses and stuff. And so, but yeah, it's been amazing. I will, never look back. And like, I think someone commented earlier too about how it's God's medicine, which I completely agree with. I think, like you were saying, like, so is herbalism and maybe like Chinese medicine, because you're just using things from God's earth that he's given to us. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that we can use those things that God's given us and cure or not. I don't want to say cure everything. I don't want to say that, but like be helpful for nearly all conditions. So yeah, it's amazing. We have everything that we need right on this beautiful earth that God gave us.
All right, here's a question coming in at the end from Risto Kimley. I've not seen him comment before. Nice to see you here. Where is it? Oh, no, wrong one. I have one job. What's the difference between homeopathy and naturopathy? We kind of talked about that.
Naturopathy is pretty much like you use the whole, like the mother tincture for things, and there's a lot of different like herbal things that they use and a lot of different treatment. Like I know they do a lot with diet and stuff, which is really good. Homeopathy is the actual dilution and succussion to make a medicine. So it is different. It's different than naturopathy. It's also different than like home remedy. It is like in a class all of its own, because it's the mother tincture that's been diluted and succussed to make a homeopathic.
Interesting. Teresa Barrett went to school for homeopathy. Well, maybe you have a new friend with
Nice.
Teresa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, exactly. No, it's been fun, Chicky. We're almost at an hour here, so I think it's probably a good time to wrap it up. Your kids were great, by the way. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I know.
No noise at all. How many kids do you have? I can't even remember.
7.
7.
Yeah. Well, my husband's also helping out. He took a long lunch break. So
nice.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
This.
Thanks, Ben.
And,
you're like you ought to give Ben a percentage of whatever you earn from this show.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
10%, Ben. You can have 10% of it, I guess.
Right.
You guys can see the website again up on the page, Michelle Landsgaard, homeopathy.com, if you want to check out her sessions, which I guess the next one will begin, the part 1 will begin in July, so people have time to sign up, get ready for it.
Yeah.
All right, last
And
comments.
quickly, I want to say thank you, Dominique and Allie, too. You're awesome. I've seen you in the comments, so I just wanted to give a shout out to you guys because
And they're too nice.
my
They're a
number
little.
one fans.
Someone say something mean to Chicky. She's gonna get a big head here. This is
Or Kevin needs to have some comments, or he's gonna cry. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and someone say something nice about me. Gee whiz.
Anything.
I don't know. Just say, Kevin, your nose isn't too big. It's just really big. Anyway, we appreciate you all. Thank you all for watching. It has been fun. I do want to say again, we do have a planned show. It's 2 weeks from now, but mark your calendars with two sisters of the CMD. They will be coming on to talk about the life of a nun. They will be taking your questions. It'll be live. It'll be a Q&A. It is, of course, approved by His Excellency Bishop Pivarunas, and should be a lot of fun. And it should be one of my sisters as well. Sister Antonia plans to be one of them. So it'll be pretty cool to have them on. That will be on February 13th. Thanks, Dominic. My nose is okay. I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I married a beautiful woman, so it's like, people can say about my nose whatever they want. I mean, if you see my wife, I mean, that's, I don't need to say anything else. It's like, hey, I mean, it worked somehow. Yeah. But yeah, right. It's you can compliment my wife. That's the same. It is. She's beautiful, and so it reflects on me and my nose. And so anyway, we also plan to do less content during Lent. That's coming up starting in 2.5 weeks. We'll be doing a couple of shows with our recordings. Father Geckel's recording of Goodyear, and Kevin Strain's going to record some sermons of St. Francis de Sales. So yeah, just keep that in mind for the future programming, that it'll be slowing down a little bit for Lent. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, kind of recalibrate. We're trying to kind of figure out what we want to do with the channel, as we kind of tend to do every year or two, kind of like, okay, what do we want to change? What do we want to keep going? Probably don't want to have Chicky on ever again because yeah, it's kind of weird.
Whatever.
Kind of bad for viewership.
I'll start my own podcast, like I said. Wait, what did it was something. I don't remember.
Catholic Families podcast or something.
Yeah, that'd be No, Catholic Family Broadcast.
I like it. A Catholic Family YouTube channel.
So just wait for that, guys.
There actually was a Catholic Family, what was it called? Catholic Family Network or something like that. And I actually didn't know that, but it was actually a fairly big thing. It was a Novus Ordo website or whatever, and it's Catholic Family News. And they eventually kind of ran into me on Twitter and they're like, hey man, you kind of stole our name. I didn't ever hear about you, but they just shut down. They were around for like 25 years and they just closed their doors just recently. So now I think we ran them out of business. We ran them out of business.
Just like
one at a time. Just
like the bad people ran homeopathy out of business. No,
yeah, exactly. That's what I do. Pelican Plus, we're coming for you next. All right, guys. We appreciate you all, Chicky. It was fun. Everyone go check out the website. I will give $5 to anyone who can write that into your screen without having to like copy it. If you can write that in like one without looking at it, over and over again, I will be super. I think Chicky needs to change her URL because that is
well,
like
it's easy to find if you know how to spell my name. So.
Yeah, who knows how to spell Michelle Landsgaard Homeopathy? Oh my gosh, you need to. I tell you what, I'll give you website and marketing advice, and you can do the homeopathy. We'll make it great too.
Sweet.
All right, awesome. All right, Chicky. Till next time, take care of yourself. Hi to Ben. Don't go popping any of those globalies here. Globules. Well, how do you say it? What are they called? Globules. Wait, who called them globules? Was that Mom? Or did we joke about it? No, I'm serious. That's what we call them. We always
really?
Kids, we call them globules.
Globules? That's pretty
It must have been a joke. We always called them globules.
Well, I will not go pop globules. So
right. To calm down.
Right.
Is there a humbling globule? I guess that's the question.
Right. Pop your head.
Globules. Okay, that is a little humbling. That's funny. That's seriously, that's what we called them when we were kids. We call them
I don't remember that.
That's hilarious. Oh man, globules. Mom, I'm blaming you. All right, Chicky. Till next time. God bless.
Bye.
Everyone in the chat. We'll see you next time.